I am the biological daughter of a rich family who was deliberately switched by a nanny. Since I was little, I grew up in a place full of evil people where I became familiar with the dark side of this world. After returning to my biological parents, everyone always asked me to give in to that fake rich girl, telling me not to compete with her for love. But they didn't know that such superficial pampering could never satisfy my ambition. Everyone said that the youngest daughter of the Wen family grew up in extreme pampering since she was little and was the happiest Alice in the whole city. Every year on her birthday, the companies of the Valtros Group held events to celebrate. Meanwhile, my father didn't love me, my mother didn't love me, my life was filled with endless work and never-ending beatings. It wasn't until the day the Valtro lawyer came to find me that I realized that I was the real Alice of the Valt-Ross Group. As soon as I returned to the Valtro family home, a servant and a driver were sent to pick me up. I carried my hopes for the future and entered the most luxurious villa. Before meeting the Valtro family, I still had a hidden expectation of family affection. The Valtro family was already waiting in the living room. Although I had looked up their pictures on my phone beforehand and knew that they looked a lot like me when I met them in person, I still couldn't help but be a little surprised. Jessica sat next to my mother. She had beautiful long wavy hair, smooth white skin, and slightly swollen eyes as if she had just cried. When she looked at me, her red eyes flashed with a hint of hatred and resentment. Even though I had returned, my mother still gently held her hand, first whispering comfort. My family had raised her like a princess. While I was wearing a white school uniform that had turned yellow, carrying a bag with a strap that had been sewn 4 or 5 times, my hands were full of calluses, too similar truly my daughter. There's no mistake. My father, James, stepped forward, patted my head, his voice full of love. "Alice, you've suffered enough." Fiora also hugged me, her eyes filled with regret. "You're home now. From now on, those days of suffering will pass." Jessica couldn't bear this scene, crying and saying, "Your whole family is reunited. I won't be here to hinder you all anymore." After saying that, she ran back to her room. Fiora let go of me and chased after her. My brother Nicholas also had a worried look in his eyes as he told me she had been spoiled by the whole family. Since she was young, she couldn't accept it for the time being. Please sympathize with her. It was her parents who exchanged my life with hers. Now that she's the one who benefits, she can't accept it. But my family wants me. The one who suffers should sympathize with her. How ridiculous. Before returning to Valtro's house, Edward once asked me, "After you have your parents to protect you, will your temperament change for the better?" At that time, I replied, "I don't know." But now my last hope for family affection has completely disappeared. I wondered why I should sympathize with her. I asked Nicholas back. Why should I sympathize with her? Nicholas didn't expect me to ask such a question and was momentarily speechless. What should I sympathize with sympathy for her having lived a rich life for my 16 years? While I was at home, she was beaten and scolded like a cat or a dog. Nicholas's eyes flashed with contemplation, but he still reflexively protected Jessica. What does this have to do with her? Jessica doesn't know anything. She's also a victim. I let out a cold laugh and stopped arguing about this issue. So everyone has decided to keep her right, Alice. I understand your feelings, but you also know what kind of people that family is. After all, Jessica was raised by her parents. How could I bear to push her into the fire pit? Father is right, raising cats and dogs for so many years, still has feelings, let alone. This is a daughter who has been raised since childhood. Okay, Father, I understand, but I am the one who shares the same bloodline as you, and she is just an adopted child. Regarding the issue of status, I don't want any confusion. Hearing me say that, Nicholas was not pleased. You and Jessica are both daughters of the Valtro family. There is no difference between biological children and adopted children. Jessica has been heartbroken enough these past few days. If outsiders find out that she is an adopted child, she has never suffered any shock since childhood. How can she bear it? You said she has never suffered any shock since childhood, and I have been beaten since childhood. So you think my fate is lowly, and I can accept it, right? I looked straight into his eyes. There was anger in my eyes, but my voice was still very calm. Nicholas frowned slightly. You didn't mean that I agreed to let her stay in this house. Do you really think I'm a turtle? Just keep shrinking my neck, Father promised his son. James spoke. Nicholas wanted to say something else, but Father's gaze stopped him. He had already investigated my past 16 years ago, knowing how miserable I had been. When I told him about my own wounds, he heard it and felt guilty. Afterwards, he and Nicholas took me to see the prepared room. I suggested that I wanted to choose, walked around for a while, and then went to Jessica's room. Fiora was holding her gently, saying, Don't say stupid things. You will always be my daughter. I won't let you leave. I pretended not to see them and continued to walk around by myself. Apart from the master bedroom, Jessica's room is the biggest. Dad, I'll choose this room. I like everything else, it's just the interior I want to change a bunch of new things. Hearing that Jessica, who had just been coaxed, burst into tears again and wanted to leave. Fiora coaxed her and comforted her while saying to me, This is Jessica's room. Mum has already prepared a room for you. Let your brother take you there. Nicholas stepped forward to pull my hand, but I took a step back, avoiding his hand. I've seen it compared to this room. It's too small. I don't want to stay there. I looked at Fiora with a cold gaze. The adopted child is in the big room. The biological daughter is in the small room. How can there be such a reason in this world? What adopted child? You and she are both my daughters. Mum knows that you have resentment in your heart, but Jessica is also a victim. Fiora just thought I was acting spoiled. You're not my biological child. Let me go make room for her. Jessica cried and wanted to go out, but was pulled back by Nicholas. You will always be my sister. No one can chase you away. What a touching scene. Their deep love makes me look like the bad guy. Mum and brother both said she was the victim. For the past 16 years, she has lived the life of a pampered Alice in my house, while I took care of the pigs and dogs for her. No. Yes, her biological parents must have feelings for her, otherwise they wouldn't have swapped her into my house. Even if we weren't swapped, she wouldn't have lived as miserable as I did. If you want to hit me, then hit me. If you want to curse me, then curse me. These past few years I've been paying for my tuition myself. They let me go to school just because they thought that the higher my education, the more they would give me when they marry me off. Fortunately, God has eyes letting me return to the Valtro house, otherwise I wouldn't know how to escape from them. I've returned, but you guys already have feelings for the fake daughter and want to keep her. Valtro Group is rich with a huge fortune. She can still continue to live a rich life in the future. At this point, I sneered in my throat. It was obvious that she was the biggest beneficiary, yet you guys told me that she was the victim. Now, my biological mother and biological brother want me to stay in the small room and she stays in the big room. If the victim can be like that, then I also want to be a victim. The sarcasm in my eyes was not hidden. The other side was speechless from what I said. Even Jessica stopped crying and burst into laughter. I didn't want to look at them anymore, turned my head to look at James. My expression softened. Dad. And can you change all the furniture within 3 hours? When facing other people, I was like a hedgehog, but only when looking at my father did my eyes show trust, because he was the head of the house. Okay, don't worry, I will arrange everything. James agreed. When there was no shortage of money, the workers worked very quickly. Jessica, with red eyes, had to move into the room that was originally prepared for me under the comforting voices of Fiora and Nicholas. Although James felt guilty towards me, he didn't want the family to be in disarray, so he advised me to get along with Jessica. In the living room, there were only me and him. I gradually removed my tough outer shell. My eyes showed sadness and tears filled my eyes. Alice, be good. I know you've been wronged. I stubbornly wiped away my tears and said, Dad, Mum and brother are too biased. They don't care about me at all. I don't like them. From today on, I only have Dad as my only relative. What nonsense is this girl talking? Don't think nonsense, of course they care about you. Even though James was trying to defend them, his eyes revealed a secret joy. During dinner, Jessica locked herself in her room, and I ate calmly without any embarrassment or discomfort. Despite Fiora and Nicholas's worries and efforts to protect Jessica, I pretended not to hear. Only when James spoke to me, I smiled back. This dinner was prepared to celebrate my return home. It's very sumptuous and tastes delicious. I ate until I was full. Fiora saw this, her eyes filled with pity. Alice eats slowly. Eating too much at night is not good for the stomach. But then she remembered her daughter, who was so sad that she didn't want to eat dinner. Jessica is very good. She's just in shock, temporarily putting herself in a dead end. Don't blame her, Mum. Don't say anything more. Nicholas's face was cold. His voice was not very pleasant. People basically don't pay attention to Mum. Mum talks so much what to do. This sentence made me very sympathetic. I also did not want to pay attention to Fiora. Perhaps she felt guilty towards me and also thought about making it up to me in the future. But between Jessica and me, she still favoured her. Jessica would not allow me and my mother to be close and would definitely cause trouble often. My dependence and love for my parents had been eroded by the beatings and humiliation of Jessica's adoptive parents. I was a person who never suffered and did not want to live a miserable life in the future. In this house, I only needed to build a good relationship with James. After finishing eating, I stood up and asked for permission to go back to my room first. I only looked at him. Jessica only treated me like a child, reminding me, remember to go to bed early tomorrow to do the paperwork. Yes, that's my only attitude. Nicholas seemed to be agitated, constantly going online, countless messages popping up in his hand. Everyone was concerned about how my family treated me. I only opened the chat box with a ward. Everything was still under control. Don't worry, he replied almost immediately. What do you have to worry about? The one who should be worried is the Valtro family. It seems they still disappointed you. My hand slid across the row of expensive branded handbags, smiling slightly. The Valtro family didn't disappoint me. I was very satisfied with what I saw. Jessica wasn't exactly stupid. After being changed rooms yesterday, she was much more obedient this morning. Fiora and Nicholas looked pitiful, and James was very satisfied. During breakfast, he said he wanted Jessica to take care of me more at school. Jessica obediently agreed, but when she got in the car, her face changed. She looked at me with a haughty and gloomy gaze. I will take good care of you. Is that so? I look forward to it. I smiled back. At Chris's top aristocratic school, Jessica was known as the Queen. The Valtro family's status meant that no one dared to disobey her. As I, a stranger following her into the school, everyone passing by looked at me with curious eyes. Someone I knew asked Jessica, "Who is he? Why haven't I seen him before? He's in the same car as you. Is he a relative?" Hearing the word relative, Jessica's expression turned cold. He's the new dog I brought. After hearing that, everyone's eyes looking at me became strange and gloomy. I went to the homeroom teacher's office first. During the morning self-study, the teacher led me into the classroom and asked me to introduce myself. I have good eyesight. As soon as I entered, I saw the only empty seat. On the table, the exercise book was torn to pieces, and a few bottles of yogurt were spilled on it. The scene was very chaotic. The rich kids under the podium all looked at me with eyes waiting to see a good show. Jessica was in the same class as me at this moment. She was curling her lips provocatively at me. Speaking of which, I didn't expect her to be so stupid. I stood on the podium, a faint smile on my face. Hello everyone, my name is Alice Valtro. My father is James Valtro, the president of Valtro Group. I am his only daughter. I clearly saw Jessica's face getting darker and darker. Jessica's biological mother used to be a nanny in my house, and she was the one who exchanged my life with her. I was not afraid of causing a shock and calmly told the secret family truth. But my parents were kind and willing to adopt Jessica so she could continue to stay in my house in the future. The whole class was shocked when they heard this secret, their eyes constantly moving between me and Jessica. Really, Jessica turned out to be the old girl. To be honest, this new girl really looked like a Valtro family member. Jessica couldn't stand the gossip. She shouted, "Shut up!" The whole class immediately fell silent. I faced her hateful gaze and walked to the messy table. Looking around, no one dared to look me straight in the eye. "What's going on?" I asked with a smile. The homeroom teacher's expression changed, and she immediately asked someone to change my desk and chair. A few male students stood up and volunteered to help. They soon changed my desk and chair and brought new books. Jessica sat right behind me, gritting her teeth and whispering, "You dare to go beyond your parents' authority and announce this to the public, your parents will not forgive you." She was so stupid that I had to laugh. I am their biological daughter. I am just telling the truth. What can they do to me? My words touched Jessica's pain. She replied with a voice full of indignation, "I will let you know who is the only daughter of the Vantro family." As soon as school ended, she immediately left the classroom. She did not return after 2 classes. During lunch, a male student sent me a message. "Declan Price, meet me in the student council office." The Vantro family and the Price family are known as the 2 largest families in Chris. Declan is the future heir of the Price family. He was engaged to Jessica since childhood. The 2 grew up together, their feelings were very deep. Jessica was treated like this by me. He made an appointment to meet me, definitely to protect her. The 2 heirs of 2 great families both pampered her like that. No wonder Jessica seemed so confident when threatening me. The student council of this school was held by the top heirs of Crit. I felt very much looking forward to going to the student council office and meeting these heirs. The school reserved a building for the student council because the users were all heirs of large corporations. This building was the most luxurious place in the school. I walked in feeling the joy of someone standing at the pinnacle of financial power. The elevator took me straight to the top floor. On the sofa, next to the large arc-shaped window, the top heirs of the school were all present. Declan and Jessica sat in the centre. In front of Declan, Jessica was completely no longer as arrogant as in the classroom. At this moment, she was weak and pitiful, leaning on his chest like a flower that needed to be protected. Declan gently stroked her hair, his eyes filled with pity as he looked at her. "You really dare to come. You have a lot of guts." Someone saw me looking interested as if watching a play. Immediately, all eyes turned to me. Declan's eyes were sharp as knives, his handsome face full of the look of an approaching storm. I had heard others talk about him before. People often said that the crown prince of the Price family had a good appearance. If he entered the entertainment industry, he could become famous. Seeing him in real life, I knew that those compliments were not exaggerated. I glanced at him with admiration and then looked at the other members of the student council. Most of this group of heirs were not bad looking. "Don't you know how to greet us when you see us? Don't you know manners?" A male student tapped the floor with a baseball bat. The corner of his mouth curled up into a malicious smile. I learned about him. He was Victor Holden, the youngest son of the Hayden Group, Declan's childhood friend, and also one of the 3 most handsome male students in this aristocratic school. However, the Holden family had long since fallen. His position in this school was given to him by Declan. He was the first to speak out to provoke everyone else, looked at me with cold eyes, waiting to see the drama. I stood in the middle of the Great Hall. There was no one around, but my momentum did not decrease. I asked coldly, "You want me to greet you? Do you think you are a big shot?" Victor remembered my identity. The smile gradually faded from his face. "Why don't you say anything? Didn't you want me to greet you? Tell me who you are, so I know how to greet you." I didn't intend to let him off. Every word was pressed. Even his father wouldn't dare to talk to me like that. Drinking a few drops of Declan's water and then daring to act arrogantly to me, Sister Victor was just joking. Jessica gently spoke up to defend Victor, immediately receiving a grateful look from him. Declan's face darkened slightly. Was he joking? Then I misunderstood. Then from now on I will joke with you like that every day, okay, Jessica? Pretended to be scared, weakly saying, Sister, don't be like that. I frowned uncomfortably. Don't call me sister. You are really ungrateful. My family has raised you for so many years without lacking anything yet. When I was bullied, you didn't help me and even sided with an outsider. You really are keeping a bee in your sleeve. Hearing me say that, Jessica immediately burst into tears, crying on the spot. Declan couldn't bear to see the person in his heart being wronged, clenched his fist and coldly shouted, Shut up for me if it weren't for the fact that I'm a girl that punch would have landed right on my face. Alice, I warn you, Jessica is my fiancée. If you dare to bully her, don't blame me for being impolite. I laughed and asked back. How impolite are you going to be? Declan coldly replied. You won't want to know. His eyes did not hide his murderous intent. In Chris, if the crown prince of the Price family wants someone to disappear, just one word is enough. But the list of people he could touch definitely wouldn't include the Vantro family. I realized his hidden meaning and couldn't help but laugh out loud. Everyone present didn't understand why I was laughing, some even doubted my mental state. They were used to Declan's arrogant way, but I wasn't afraid of it. Who called you the Crown Prince and you thought you were really Chris's Crown Prince? Declan had always been flattered by everyone around him since he was young. This was the first time he had been humiliated like this. His face darkened. I would never say a second time. Jessica put her arm around him and gently advised, Brother Declan, don't be angry. She is the biological daughter of the Vantro family. The fact that I can still stay at home, I'm already very grateful. I'm too gentle, so she bullied me. Declan gently coaxed her, his eyes filled with pity. The Vantro family has always treated you like their own daughter with me here. Don't be afraid, no one can do that to you. The girls who were close to Jessica also started to interfere. It's true that the wild chicken just flew up to the high branch and came here to show off. It's no surprise that Nicholas told us to take care of Jessica. It turns out that he had expected that she would bully her. Nicholas and Declan are both Jessica's backers. I advise you to be a little more reasonable. I understand why these people dare to show their attitude towards me. It turns out that Nicholas, the public heir of the Vantro family, has mentioned many positions and is so worried about his fake sister that he doesn't want her to suffer any grievances. It turns out that the reason they asked me to come here was to frame me for a crime and at the same time show off their power in front of me. It's just that you guys are worthy. I coldly looked at the three people who had just spoken. They quickly realized that I was targeting them, but no one dared to stand up. I smirked, raised my chin slightly, and walked with just enough arrogance towards the main sofa. When I passed Declan and Jessica, she was crying and reached out to pull me back. I frowned, swung my hand hard, causing her to fall backwards, and was supported by Declan. Jessica was the person Declan loved the most. He was blinded by love. No matter how many loopholes there were, he still saw Jessica as being bullied. His anger flared up immediately and he slapped me straight. I stood still. That slap had 10 times the force. It made my ears buzz and my face turn it red. In the hall, a few gasps of disbelief rang out. Jessica hid behind Declan, the corner of her mouth slightly raised into a smug smile. I raised my left hand to touch my cheek. My smile could no longer be hidden. Excitement flashed in my eyes. You were the one who did it first. Before everyone could recover from their shock at the sight of the Price heir hitting the Vantro daughter, I quickly counterattacked. My punches were powerful and vicious, sending him falling to the ground. I stepped on his groin, grabbed his hair, and tried to slam his head into the ground. If we continued to fight, it would definitely cause a murder. Everyone rushed forward to pull me away. Just in time, I felt that I had had enough, let go of my hand, stepped back and sat down on the sofa in the center. Seeing me leave, Jessica dared to approach Declan, crying and calling him. He curled up on the ground, his eyes filled with anger and shame as he looked at me. He didn't expect to lose to me in a duel, nor did he expect me to be so cruel. Young masters like Declan were born with a silver spoon in their mouths, never really experienced a fight. They liked to use strength to fight hand to hand, but I was different every time I fought. It was for survival, enough recklessness and enough cruelty to win. I heard that in your school, this position is called the throne. Sitting on the throne doesn't feel bad. I spread my arms and leaned against the sofa. My mood at the moment was very happy. My coat was torn in half, the left side of my face was red and swollen, my hair was messy, but the corner of my mouth curled up into a defiant smile. In the eyes of outsiders, I looked like a madman. My madness made those arrogant airs stand still. Jessica's voice rang out clearly in the quiet space. "Sister, it's okay for you to bully me, but how can you hit Declan? The Price family won't forgive you. You scared me. It's really scary." I smiled, patted my chest gently, and acted indifferent. "What should I do if students fight in school?" I said, and called the principal in front of everyone. "Principal Declan hit me." The principal replied in a trembling voice, Alice, are you okay? Did you and young Master Price have some misunderstanding?" "There's no misunderstanding, you hit him back." After I finished speaking, I hung up. Everyone looked at me as if they were looking at an idiot. Nicholas sided with Jessica. Although I was the biological son of the Valtro family, I was not pampered much at home, beat the heir of the Price family. Instead of trying to settle things peacefully, I made things bigger. The children of two big families like Valtro and Price fought, which made the school not dare to delay. After informing the parents of both sides, they immediately invited a doctor to check our injuries. Jessica blamed herself and cried in front of Declan. "It was all my fault. If it weren't for me, my sister and I wouldn't have fought." Declan gently wiped her tears. "It wasn't my fault she was the one who attacked first. No one could do that to me in front of you." Hearing this, I just wanted to roll my eyes. I just shook Jessica's hand away. She wasn't hurt at all. Being called the Crown Prince for too long, Declan had developed an arrogant and domineering personality. He took bullying others for granted, and if anyone went against him, it was an unforgivable crime. Declan's mother arrived later, and when she received the call, she happened to be at a nearby shopping mall. She was confident that her son would not suffer any loss, so she was very calm. Sure enough, when she arrived, Declan was still sitting on the sofa, showing no signs of injury. Meanwhile, I had a swollen face, my hair was messy, and I looked quite badly injured. "Damn it, why did you hit me so hard?" She frowned and asked her son, "What happened?" If it was someone else who was beaten, it would be fine, but I am the biological daughter who was just found by the Valtro family. Declan kept a gloomy face, trying to hide his confusion. She asked, "Where are you injured?" Declan didn't know how to respond because the places I hit him were all in secret places, inconvenient to say. He could only glare at me with hatred and scold, "You coward." "I was cowardly and will be even more cowardly in the future," I replied. Jessica still spoke weakly. "It's all your fault. Declan only took action to protect you." "What does this have to do with you, Declan?" Continued to defend her that she bullied you, so he took action. Declan's mother quickly understood the problem. Her son was involved in the Valtro family's affairs because of Jessica. She glanced at Declan and then anxiously walked towards me, asking the doctor about my condition. After knowing that I was slapped to the point of temporary tinnitus, but fortunately the time of the earache wasn't long, otherwise the eardrum might have ruptured. She turned around and punched Declan a few times. I silently looked at her. The punches didn't have much force. "Alice, I apologize on behalf of my son. Don't worry when I get home today. His father and I won't forgive him." Just then, Fiora and Nicholas walked in. They went straight to Jessica, anxiously checking to see if she was injured. Seeing that she was okay, they looked at Declan and finally turned their eyes to me. "Alice, what happened to your face?" Hearing that question, Jessica immediately blamed herself and cried, pulling Fiora's hand and saying, "Mom, it's all my fault if it wasn't for me. Declan wouldn't have fought with my sister." Declan quickly retorted, "She attacked you first, don't blame yourself anymore." Nicholas looked at me angrily, his face full of displeasure. "Alice, don't be so unreasonable." Fiora knew that Declan had been biased towards Jessica since childhood, and she believed these words immediately. She looked at me with a disappointed expression. "Alice, why did you hit Jessica? I told you you and Jessica are both my daughters. Don't confront Jessica anymore." The whole family stood on Jessica's side. The other students in the room looked at me with a mixture of sarcasm and pity. Declan's mother stood to the side, surprised, but did not intervene, just watching the play. I looked at Jessica and said, "Jessica, you act very well. You shouldn't be a dance major, but should study acting." I even applauded her. Jessica quickly said, "I didn't act. How can you say that to me?" She looked at Nicholas with pleading eyes. He was about to speak up to defend his precious little sister when I interrupted and held his mouth. "I've given you all enough time just now. Everything you need to say has probably been said. Now I only need 5 minutes to present." I glanced at him coldly and said, "Something interesting happened when I entered the school this morning. Everyone listened to it. I played the recording that I had time to take out during break time." "Who is she? Why haven't I seen her? Was she in the same car as you? Is she your relative?" Jessica's voice rang out in the recording. "She's the new dog I brought." I lifted my hair to reveal my face that was completely swollen from the slap, my eyes cold. I wanted to ask everyone what the dog meant here. Everyone knew that whoever was called a dog in this school would become the school's toy, bullied until they couldn't take it anymore and had to drop out of school. Except for the two parents, everyone present understood that clearly, but no one dared to answer. Nicholas and Declan looked at Jessica with surprise, and she shook her head in panic. But with the recording evidence, she didn't know how to explain. Fiora looked at her in surprise and asked, "Jessica, how could you talk about Alice like that?" I sneered, my voice full of sarcasm. "You're truly blind. Your biological parents treated me like a dog, and you also called me a dog. You're really like them." After hearing that, Fiora and Nicholas felt a little guilty, but they thought that family matters shouldn't be exposed to the public and wanted to stop me from continuing to speak. "Alice, if you have anything to say, go home and talk about it." I sneered. "When you scolded me in front of so many people, did you see anything wrong? Why do you want me to shut up now that it's time to talk about Jessica? You guys are really her good mother and brother," I said in a sarcasm tone. Hearing this sentence is so appropriate. Fiora's face paled and she quickly explained, "In my heart, you guys are all the same." Fiora and Nicholas softened. Nicholas said to me, "The whole family understands everything. Alice, you've suffered a lot. Come on, Mum will take you to the hospital to get your face checked." Hearing that, I laughed coldly. Right in front of them, I called the police. Nicholas stepped forward to grab my phone, but I didn't hesitate to give him a loud slap. In his astonished eyes, I gave the address to the police. After calling, I looked at him and said coldly, "This isn't over yet." Then I turned to Declan, my voice full of force. "You said I hit Jessica, so you hit me. Now tell me, did I hit her or kick her?" My questioning spirit was so strong that even Declan, who was always arrogant, was momentarily stunned. "Don't know how to answer." Then I continued, "If you don't say it, let me say it. She pulled me, I just shook her hand away. Is this called taking action?" I pointed at my beaten face, my voice full of agitation. "This is taking action. I was beaten to this extent, but my mother only knew how to tell me to shut up and endure the humiliation. If you guys don't give me justice, the police will give me justice. I've been bullied for the first half of my life. I've had enough of those days. I have a father now. I'm the biological daughter of the Valtro family. Don't even think about anyone bullying me anymore." The last sentence, I almost shouted. After I finished shouting, tears flowed. I tried to use my sleeve to stubbornly wipe them away. I always thought that I had seen through some things, but in fact I still couldn't let go. The whole hall was terrifyingly silent, as if everyone was scared by me. Fiora's face was full of remorse. She cried and tried to pull me back, but I shook her hand away. Nicholas looked at me. The emotions in his eyes were complicated, as if he wanted to say something, but in the end, he said nothing. I had called the police. Declan's mother couldn't just stand by and watch anymore. She stepped forward to apologize on behalf of her son. "Alice, what I apologize on behalf of Declan." I suddenly thanked her. "Thank you for what?" A look of surprise flashed across her face. "Why thank you?" "Because you were the only one who asked the doctor about my injury. I was very grateful for your concern." My eyes were red and tears welled up again. Although she felt ashamed that I had called the police seeing me so pitiful, she couldn't help but feel moved. I was very grateful to Auntie Anne, but Declan was already an adult. He needed to take responsibility for his actions. I don't want to put Declan's mother in a difficult position, so if I continue to say anything more, it will be counterproductive. I raised my head, trying to hold back my tears, and quickly walked out of the lobby. Nicholas chased after me and held my hand in front of the elevator, his voice helpless. "Do you really have to go this far? This is really Jessica's fault. She was so insecure that she was afraid I would chase her away, so she wanted to intimidate me. When I get home, I'll ask her to explain." I shook his hand away and uncomfortably wiped the place that had just been touched, as if it had been stained with something dirty. "Don't pretend anymore. Nicholas, you study at this school. You know very well what it means to call someone a dog, right?" He was speechless at my words. "Since yesterday, I've been blaming my mother and you." I shook my head. "No, I don't blame you. I've said it before. Blood is a very magical thing. You and I are the same kind of people. If the person who was swapped since childhood was you and you were picked up, then I would definitely protect my fake brother." I stepped into the elevator and pressed the close button. Nicholas wanted to continue arguing with me, but I stopped him. I advised him not to get involved with me anymore, otherwise I might not be able to control my mouth. Just think if the news of a rich daughter being bullied at school or the prince of the Price family standing up to protect his fake daughter became a headline, how many people would... Waiting. Hearing this, Nicholas pulled his leg back, warning me not to do anything rash. The elevator door closed as I wanted. What an idiot. I thought to myself, I knew Jessica wanted to show me off because her purpose and mine were the same. All the people on the upper floors were taken away by the police. They had been raised to be heirs since they were young. This was the first time they had to step foot in a police station. The result of my injury assessment was minor injury. The police had informed Declan's mother of this result, telling her to sincerely apologise and try to reconcile. If I refused to forgive, her son would be detained. Hearing that Declan might be detained, Jessica was even more worried than her mother. Declan was also injured. She wanted Declan to go for an injury assessment too. But because his injury was in a very hidden place, he shook his head and refused, just silently staring at me with a cold face. Declan's mother pulled him forward. I looked at my face to apologise, but Declan just pursed his lips, not wanting to lower himself. Fiora and Nicholas also stood by to help Declan. The Valtro and Price families appeared to have a very good relationship. Neither of them wanted to make enemies with the other. I sat coldly on the chair in the mediation room. No matter who advised me, I still refused to give in. Things had come to this point and had alarmed the heads of the two families. When James arrived, his eyebrows were tightly knitted, clearly very angry. In his eyes, my clinging to Declan was really unreasonable. But when I, who always kept a cold face, saw him, I suddenly dropped all my defences, my face full of grievance, and rushed straight into his arms. His scolding stopped when he saw me burst into tears. "Father, you finally came. They all bullied me." My sudden change of attitude made Fiora and Nicholas, who had advised me before, feel embarrassed. I cried and told my father everything, then looked up at him with confidence. "I was always bullied before, but now I have a father. Your father will stand by me." My attitude pleased him. James gently patted my back softly, saying, "Alice, you have suffered, of course I will stand up to protect you." Father Declan seemed to be blaming him. Declan looked at me with dissatisfaction, his eyes unable to hide the hatred and resentment. This was probably the first time the Crown Prince of the Price family had suffered such humiliation. This was probably the most humiliating moment in his life. I pretended to be frightened by Declan's gaze, crying and saying, "His gaze is so scary when we go to school, he will definitely hit me again." Father Declan's anger was almost exploding. He kicked me, asked him to apologize to me. Declan still refused to bow his head. Seeing that Father Declan was about to kick him again, Mother Declan hurriedly stepped between the two, said, "The boy is so stubborn, what's the use of kicking him?" The police suggested that we split up to slowly persuade him. Declan's mother pulled him out and the others were also called out by the police. Very quickly, only my father and I were left in the mediation room. I knew that my father could not confront the Price family for me, so after crying for a while, I stubbornly wiped my tears away and conveniently lifted my hair to completely reveal half of my red and swollen face. I spoke before James. "Dad, in this world, you are the only one who is the best to me. I don't want to make things difficult for you. I'm willing to forgive Declan. A daughter who is always full of thorns in front of outsiders, but is willing to suffer losses for her father. How could he not be moved by this? Alice is so good. I suggest, but if I don't teach Declan a lesson, he will definitely continue to bully you when he returns to school." James's eyes flashed and he said softly, "Don't worry, I will ask Uncle Price to teach Declan a lesson so that he won't dare to bully you again." Just a little hint, and this old fox understood immediately. He went out to talk to Declan's father for a while. When he came back, he looked very good, his expression relaxed. It seemed like he had achieved the expected benefits. Declan's father must have paid a big price, and when he returned home, he would definitely teach Declan a lesson. After returning home, James carefully reviewed all the evidence that I had submitted to the police. Jessica was so nervous that she clenched her fists and her eyes were filled with tears of despair. After understanding everything, James severely scolded Jessica, locked her card, and demanded that she apologize to me. Although he loved his daughter very much, he was really disappointed this time. Although he had not given up on her yet, I still maintained a tough attitude and did not accept Jessica's apology. "I don't want to embarrass my father, so I won't pursue this matter anymore. But you stole my identity to get your current life. Our whole family is your benefactor. I hope you won't do ungrateful things again." Hearing this, Jessica's face was full of discomfort and tears streamed down her face. Nicholas couldn't bear it and spoke up to defend her. "Jessica has already apologized. Why do you need to say such harsh words?" I laughed coldly. "If you say harsh words, you are even harsher than me. The student council dared to humiliate me, wasn't it because you ordered it?" Nicholas was choked by my words, opened his mouth to refute, but in the end he couldn't say anything. I didn't want to continue to deal with them, so I used the excuse of being tired to go rest. At dinner, Jessica knocked on my door. When she saw me, her eyes were full of hatred. She had started recording since entering the school. Did she do it on purpose? She was such a vicious woman. She had schemed against the whole family. I just smiled and said nothing. Then I reached into her coat pocket and took out my phone. As I expected, she was recording. I stopped recording, smiled at her as if she was an idiot, and threw the phone back to her. "Now you know what kind of person I am. From now on, remember to tuck your tail and don't come in front of me to make mistakes again." Jessica glared at me angrily. I smiled with satisfaction and closed the door in front of her. As I walked past, I said softly, "Being the daughter of the Valtro family for more than 10 years, you still have to rely on men to deal with me. You are truly useless." After that, I didn't care about Jessica's expression and went downstairs in a very happy mood. During the meal, Jessica acted like a shy child, occasionally looking at my expression before daring to pick up food, causing Fiora and Nicholas to feel sorry for her. Even James couldn't bear to see his daughter in that state and took the initiative to pick up more food for her. This was her home, she could eat whatever she wanted. Jessica was touched, nodded, and wanted to say something but was interrupted by me. "Dad, I want to join the student council." Hearing this, Jessica's face became unsightly, her fingers holding the chopsticks clenched so tightly that her fingertips turned white. James replied, "Okay, I'll arrange it for you. The Valtro family donates a lot of money to the school every year, and the student council is just a saying. And so, like Jessica, I became the vice president of the student council. But the difference is that Jessica volunteered to be the deputy, and I, because my management experience is not as good as Declan's, cannot replace him for the time being. The Noble School is a miniature society. In the past, many people even thought of torturing me to please Jessica. But after knowing that I am the biological daughter of the Valtro family, they turned to flatter me. I didn't hold grudges and accepted many suitors. In no time, I'd established a power in the school while still not neglecting my studies. I tried to study hard-hired, famous golf and tennis coaches with high salaries, practiced hard every day, and had a very busy life. Fiora always tried to build a good relationship with me, but because she was grateful for Jessica being by her side for 10 years, she was often taken advantage of and misunderstood by Jessica. Every time she was deceived. And after many times, I felt that this was a waste of time, and I didn't even want to listen to what she said. Nicholas had an arrogant personality, not the type of person to bow down easily. Sometimes he asked me about the recent situation with a cold look, and I just answered briefly and didn't want to say more. After I exposed her, Jessica started to act extremely obedient and skillful. She flattered and did everything she could to please her family. She put 100% of her effort into mending relationships with everyone in the family. Sometimes she even bragged in front of me about how much she was pampered. Many people felt indignant on my behalf, but I didn't react. Jessica grew up under the care and love of the Valtro family. I couldn't replace the feelings that had been there for years. Even if they felt guilty towards me, I knew that their hearts were still on her side. It was both foolish and a waste of time to be entangled with Jessica every day. I would only use their guilt and concessions when necessary. That day at the tennis club I met Declan and Jessica. I pretended not to see them and was about to walk away, but Declan called me back. His voice was very cold and his face showed clear disgust. "I won't get engaged to you. My fiancée can only be Jessica." I immediately understood that this wasn't a chance meeting, but that they had come to find me on purpose. Jessica stood beside him, her eyes filled with tears. "Sister, please don't separate us." The Price family's change of engagement partner was something I had predicted. After all, what they really wanted was the shares that the Valtro family's daughter brought as a dowry. Although Jessica was still being raised in the Valtro family, the shares she would receive were still unknown. I didn't expect this to happen so quickly. When Jessica and I were only in 11th grade, it was too hasty. Jessica, despite being the daughter of the Valtro family for many years, didn't understand what the Price family really wanted. When something happened, she only knew how to come to me to cause trouble, which was both stupid and a waste of effort. "Why did you come to me?" My voice was very calm, as if I didn't care too much about this. "Stop pretending I'm warning you immediately. Stop your shady tricks." It was surprising that this sentence came from the mouth of the future heir of the Price family. Even I, a newcomer to the rich world, can see the truth. How could Declan not know? Regardless of whether he doesn't want to believe it or is just stupid. I don't care much. "You should remember, I am the biological daughter of the Valtro family," I said, looking straight at Jessica, pulling out a contemptuous smile. "As for you, you are just a beloved Alice raised in my house. Don't dream of things you don't deserve. Both people in front of me were angered. Declan angrily declared that he would never be engaged to a wicked woman like me, and that his only fiancée could only be Jessica. I was very satisfied with his reaction, continuing to add fuel to the fire. Young Master Declan's empty talk was useless. If you have the ability, convince your mother not to change the engagement partner. My words made his face as black as ink. Before leaving, I mocked, "Try your best, I'm really looking forward to your engagement party." My blatant provocation provoked Declan, and he really made a scene at the Price house. Jessica also cried every day at home, wanting to prove to me that the Valtro family still loved her. Regarding the engagement between Jessica and Declan, the Valtro family all agreed. For James, letting his fake daughter get married would help him keep the shares she brought with her. As for Fiora and Nicholas, they felt secure in handing Jessica over to Declan because they had feelings for each other since childhood. The Valtro family came to me one by one to talk. James praised my academic performance, telling me that I was still young, so I should focus on my studies and not think too much about these things. Dad said he was very proud of me. Fiora showed me Jessica and Declan's photo albums. Since I was little, she advised me not to interfere in their love life. Nicholas said that he would find me an excellent man like Declan in the future. As for Jessica, she told them that I liked Declan. As a result, they really believed it. Rumours began to spread in the school that I liked Declan, that all my actions were to attract his attention. People even said that Jessica and I were competing to confirm Declan's choice, making me a laughingstock. In the exam last month, I ranked first in the whole school, more than 40 points ahead of the second place, and achieved the highest score in the history of this noble school. That year, Nicholas had just entered the top 20, and in the university entrance exam, he only scored enough points to enter Chris University. His academic results could not be compared to mine, but in the eyes of many people, the son is the natural heir. All the family's resources are given to him. The daughter, although favoured on the outside, is not given any power, just waiting for the right age to get married and help her brother's career develop. I did not grow up in a sweet environment like them. Love for the court does not mean much to me. Although I may live a life without material deprivation in the future, everything I have depends on others. I have to live under the eyes of others. I accepted it before because I was at the bottom of my life. If someone pulled me up, I would pay any price. But now I am the daughter of the Valtro family, and legally Nicholas and I have equal rights to inherit property. Living downstairs for so long, I will not give up any opportunity to rise. Declan is the only son of the Price family. His parents do not want to cause too much conflict with him. On the surface, they gave in, saying that we were both still too young and that we would discuss this after college. When Jessica came to tell me about this, I was practicing tennis. After hearing this, I just replied softly, "Oh," and continued practicing. My indifferent attitude made her so angry that she jumped up. Although Declan's parents had temporarily given in, Jessica still didn't feel safe. She started aiming her gun at me. I guess she thought that the Price family definitely wouldn't want me to step through the door. The person she hired acted very quickly. Soon a post titled "Exposing Rich Young Ladies and Their Youthful Behaviours" exploded on the school forum, attracting thousands of comments. The poster claimed to be my old classmate. The post was accompanied by photos of me secretly taken from middle school with boys in the school. The behaviour in the photos wasn't exactly intimate, but it wasn't completely innocent either. I had ridden in other people's cars, given water to people, and chatted with someone in the hidden corners of the school. The editor of the article made up many ridiculous details, even mentioning Award, the boy who was known as the male god of my old high school, and guessed that he was my current boyfriend. Under Jessica's manipulation, this article spread so quickly that Award also knew about it. He took the initiative to contact me, asking if I needed anything. I replied, "No need to worry." Even if there was no Price family, there was still the Hollow family and the Locke family. The Valtro family would always find the next marriage partner for me. I even wished for this to grow up a little so that my reputation would become so bad that no one would dare to marry me. He said that the rich and powerful were unpredictable and asked, "Is your life difficult now?" "How is it difficult?" I replied. "Living a life with money and power is very enjoyable. I'm doing very well." Having said this, I paused for a moment and then said, "You've taken care of me a lot these past few years. I transferred him $200,000. Consider this money as a thank you. Let's not contact each other anymore." I deleted all my old classmates and left the chat group that had been pinned for many years. He was right, the rich are really deep. I don't want them to get involved. This is probably my last conscience. He didn't accept the money. 24 hours later, the money was automatically returned to my account. With his personality, he must have felt angry that I had ruined our relationship. Sometimes I really envied him. His family never let him suffer, and because of love, he could even refuse money. The post on the forum spread more and more, and finally reached the parents of the Valtro and Price families. James called me to talk. I kept my obedient face in front of him, expressing my resentment. We were just classmates. There was no other relationship. Since middle school, I had been studying and working part-time. Studying at the old school put a lot of pressure on me to maintain my lower grades. Every day, besides working, I only had time to study. Where did I have time to do useless things, like in the article? During my time studying there, I was always in the top 5, and since I came to Valtro's house, I often studied until late at night. James naturally believed me. "Dad, I have a math competition coming up. I don't want this to affect me. Can you help me solve it?" He nodded in agreement and started asking about my math competition. After leaving the study, the maid told me that Fiora was waiting for me in the piano room. She had something to ask. When I entered the piano room, Fiora and Nicholas were instructing Jessica on how to practice the piano. When they noticed my presence, all 3 of them smiled. Jessica tilted her head slightly to look at me. The corners of her eyes raised in a gloating expression. "You're here, what's the matter?" I ignored her and looked straight at Fiora. "What's that article about?" Nicholas passed Fiora, his face solemn, as he asked me, "Alice, you're still young. You should focus on your studies now. No matter what happened before, from now on, you can't contact those people anymore. So it's this. I don't understand what's worth asking. Brother has dated quite a few girlfriends, right? The matter of him and his ex-girlfriend, his classmates still gossip about it now. I said it naturally. People who are not flirtatious will waste their youth, let alone you, a beautiful and rich young lady. There are many people pursuing you, but everyone, don't worry, I know my limits. I won't let indecent people step into my house. What are you talking about?" All 3 of them looked at me as if I were crazy. I was speaking Mandarin. Fiora and Nicholas opened their mouths to say something, but I interrupted one of them, who had countless ex-girlfriends, and the other, who was worried about his underage daughter for fear of losing her future husband. "What do you think? How to talk to your child about this?" I turned to look at Jessica and you, the child you raised. Besides relying on men and making up stories online to slander me, you have no use at all. After saying that, I didn't care about their reactions and turned around to leave. Jessica behind me cried out in grievance. "It wasn't me, I didn't do it." "Sister, why do you think of me like that?" Nicholas said coldly. "He's just a lunatic. Don't worry about it." He had warned Jessica that I was a lunatic, but it seemed that she didn't care. That day after school, a friend of Nicholas's suddenly ran in front of me, anxiously shouting, "Alice, I saw a ward at the school gate. Did he come to find you?" This sentence immediately attracted the attention of everyone around. I understood Ward's personality well. After the last scandal, he wouldn't take the initiative to come to find me. The fact that he appeared at the school gate, someone must have been up to something behind the scenes. I passed through the crowd and looked towards Jessica, who was standing on the steps with Declan. Her face was red. Her mouth kept opening and closing as if she was agitatedly saying something. I could guess what she was saying. It was just to make Declan hate me more and tarnish my private life. Ignoring the gossip around me, I walked straight towards her. Seeing me coming, Jessica asked loudly in front of everyone, "Sis, Mum told you not to contact those people anymore." I curled my lips slightly. "You really like calling me big sister, but good girl, you've gone too far this time. Jessica's actions were beneficial to me before, and I was happy to help stir up trouble, but now I've decided to let her go." But she dragged a ward into this, which makes me unhappy at all. I grabbed her hair and forcefully pulled her in front of me. Before anyone could react, I slapped her face repeatedly. It's been a long time since I moved my hands and feet, and these slaps made me feel much more comfortable. There were gasps of surprise all around, and Declan was so angry that his face turned red, he clenched his fists and rushed towards me. I let go of Jessica, stepped back, avoided his punch, and smiled teasingly. "Young Master Declan, you really like to manage the Valtro family's affairs, huh? Do you remember the time you went to the police station with me? I'm starting to miss it." Hearing that he was so angry that he clenched his fists, intending to rush to hit me, but his friends who were with him quickly pulled him back. Jessica hugged her red, bony face. Her hair was messy. Her eyes revealed hatred like a venomous snake. "You dare to hit me! Your parents will not forgive you!" I sneered. "You already called me sister. If sisters fight, what can your parents say? Besides, you are just an adopted child. Good girl, remember not to make your sister angry again next time." I looked at Declan, who was being held tightly by a few people, then happily raised my right hand that had just slapped someone to my face and shook it arrogantly. See, this is what I call taking action. Declan was so agitated by me that he exploded with incredible strength, pushing away all the people who were stopping him, but was quickly held back again. He could only curse me for being cruel in his anger when I turned around and left. Those people tried their best to hold him back, because after the last incident with the police, the Price family had ordered him not to interfere in my family's affairs anymore. My old school and my current school were only one street apart. A ward often passed by here, so he was very familiar with this area. He did not stand at the school gate as others said, but sat behind the green bushes on the other side of the road. Occasionally he lowered his head to look at his phone, looking restless and worried. If you didn't pay attention, it would be difficult to see him from the school gate. I sighed, walked in front of him and said, "Get in the car." Seeing me, Ward was both surprised and happy, but his actions showed that he was uncomfortable. He was silent the whole way. When we reached the apartment gate, we got out of the car together. When the driver left, I asked why he came to my school. He said someone sent him a letter inside were secret photos of me. That person asked to meet him at the school gate today. I took the envelope he gave me and asked, "Did you record the call?" "Recorded it." He replied but didn't do anything, just stared at the phone. The old school's male god, who was always confident and arrogant, now had a humble expression on his face. His voice was very small. Did he have to do that? I was a little helpless. The person who took so many pictures of me in uniform was definitely not a simple person, and he dared to ask to meet someone. I looked straight into his eyes. "Ward, do you like me?" He didn't expect me to say it so directly. His earlobes turned red. It was unclear whether it was from embarrassment or confusion. His chest was red, but his voice was very firm. "Yes, I like you, but you don't like me. You always take advantage of me." I said it directly. When I was in 10th grade, I was harassed by many people, and hanging out with you was to avoid them. The times we met by chance were all arranged by me. I know you know that, and this really surprised me. I don't know how many people like you have taken advantage of. They are all the same to me. Some of the content in Jessica's article is true. To achieve my goals, I have taken advantage of so many people, both men and women, that I can't even count how cruel I have been. Ward just looked at me silently. His steadfast and hot eyes seemed to want to burn me. That made me laugh. After all these years, he is the stupidest person I have ever met. Even though he saw my true face, he still jumped into the fire. "Award, do you remember that I entered Chris as a top special student?" I suddenly asked, making him a little surprised. "It's only 11th grade. There's still time to try to get into university. After graduating, come work for me at Valtro Group." The ice in me gradually melted the corners of my eyes, and eyebrows softened. I smiled slightly. "I am currently alone and weak. I need to cultivate a confidant." He was both surprised and happy. A bright smile quickly appeared on his face, his eyes shining with determination. He will pass the entrance exam to Chris University. Before his parents divorced, Award was always in the top of the city. After that, he could not accept the family breakdown, so he used his decline to protest. However, his achievements are still in the top 100. With such a foundation, if he tries, he still has a chance to pass the entrance exam to Chris University. I need someone like him who has no background and is willing to devote himself to me. On the way home, my phone rang non-stop. James was busy with work, while Jessica and Nicholas had their own exciting college lives. Except for the weekend, they hardly came home for dinner, but today everyone was there. As soon as I walked in, Fiora and Nicholas kept blaming me, especially Nicholas, who seemed to want to hit me. Jessica pretended to be scared, nestled in Fiora's arms, and cried. James still maintained the attitude of the head of the family, but I knew that what Fiora and Nicholas said was exactly what he was thinking. "Tell me, where did you go and why did you hit Jessica?" James asked. I had been waiting for this question. I gave the Valtro family the letter and the recording that Award had given me. I bit my lip and looked resentful. Award was deliberately lured. Farther, someone wanted to harm me. Today, a classmate said loudly that Award came to find me and that friend was very close to Jessica. Jessica and that friend worked together to badmouth me. There were a lot of people around, and they were gossiping about me a lot. I was very scared. At that time, I just wanted them to stop. The more I spoke, my voice became more and more choked up. Tears couldn't be held back and fell, but I stubbornly pursed my lips and wiped them away. The three people in front of me had never seen me act so weak. They stood there not knowing how to react. "But you can't hit people either. See how badly Jessica was beaten by you," Fiora said angrily. I glanced at Jessica, almost bursting into laughter, looking no different from a pig's head. It was my fault for hitting someone, but I want to ask Mum. I paused for a moment, my voice cold. Are the recent events related to Mum? Was the Award called to school by Mum? Jessica cried after hearing that. How could you think of me like that? It wasn't me you hit me and wanted to blame me. No matter how much you hate me, you can't smear me like that. Fiora painfully wiped her tears and turned to me with a disappointed expression. Shut up and apologise. If Jessica doesn't forgive you from today on, Mum won't consider you her older sister anymore. Nicholas also spoke loudly. One person told me to apologise. One person told me to shut up. Then who should I listen to? I asked weakly. My voice was like being hurt. Nicholas was angry, grabbed my hand, pulled towards Jessica, but I refused, trying to pull my hand away not to make a fuss anymore. Finally, James spoke. Alice, go upstairs and put your school bag away, get ready and prepare dinner. Father, Nicholas looked displeased, but was stopped by him with a stern look. From now on, this matter cannot be mentioned again. Jessica, follow me to the study. Yes. Jessica obediently replied, then turned around and glared at me with disgust before following James upstairs. I knew James's ability well. Surely he had investigated that the person behind the spreading of defamatory information about me online was Jessica. With his intelligence, he only needed to think a little bit to know who did it. Perhaps to maintain peace in the family, or perhaps because of his many years of affection for Fiora, he chose to hide this matter and left a little guilt in Jessica's heart. This was not without its advantages for me. During dinner, James mentioned my birthday, saying that he would hold a big party to formally introduce me to everyone. I knew this was his way of making it up to me. However, the name of the party included Jessica's name, and we would celebrate our birthday together. This party was almost attended by all the upper-class families in the city. Jessica moved freely among the people, while I only knew people from my school, while she knew almost everyone. Among the aristocrats of this age, Nicholas and Declan were at the top. Declan could not hide his dislike for me, only giving gifts to Jessica. Nicholas gave gifts to both of us, but Jessica's gifts were clearly more expensive and thoughtful. It was easy to see that he did this to express his dissatisfaction with me. When Jessica made a joke that made Declan hit me, he didn't react, and even thought that I didn't know how to save face for the family. But when I hit Jessica, he was furious, deliberately humiliating me in front of everyone, not caring about saving face for the family. After giving the gift, Nicholas deliberately glanced at me, his expression as if to say that if I didn't apologize, he would never forgive me. I picked up my glass and smiled at him. At this moment, Declan also turned around to see this scene. Their faces suddenly became strange. It seemed that I didn't expect that I could still smile in this situation. Normally, this birthday party should have been the main character for Jessica, but we weren't even sitting at the main table. At the center of the table was a technology tycoon from the South, whom both the Valtro and Price families were competing for cooperation. Sitting on either side of him were the elders of the Valtro and Price families. And a little further away were the heads of other powerful families in Kyoto City. Fiora sat at the same table as Jessica and I. This arrangement made me extremely uncomfortable. But what was even more uncomfortable was that Jessica kept bragging about how well the men at the main table treated her. I was even more annoyed by her stupidity. It was just that I could still endure those things. But when Mother Meng said that James planned to let Nicholas join the company as a housekeeper early, I couldn't bear it anymore. Nicholas was only a second-year university student. They were really in a hurry. I held my glass of wine and walked over. Everyone walked towards the distinguished guest sitting at the main table and respectfully offered him a drink. "May I ask if you are the founder of the Hope Project?" I said nervously. The man was a little drunk and slowly replied, "Yes, you are the founder. Uncle Rael, I would like to toast I express my joy." He raised his head to look at me and gently pushed my glass with the back of his hand. "Little girl, don't drink alcohol. It's not good for your health." He only had one daughter and he hated it when girls didn't know how to cherish themselves. James smiled and introduced me to him. After learning about my academic performance, he smiled and praised James for being lucky and also gave me a few words of encouragement, advising me to study hard. I nodded obediently, my face showing determination. Since I was little, I knew that education was the only way to escape. My foster parents did not let me go to school, so I had to work to earn money for tuition and living expenses. It was a very difficult time for me. At this point, tears rolled down my stubborn face, but I quickly smiled gratefully. Fortunately, there are people like Uncle Rael. The Hope Project has helped me get through the most difficult times, helping me pay my tuition. Uncle Rael, I must toast you this glass. I tilted my head back and finished the glass of wine. He raised his hand to stop me, but the corner of his lips revealed a smile that was hard to hide. Uncle Rael. I did not disappoint the Hope Project's expectations. My homeroom teacher said that my current achievements are the highest in the history of the school. He and James smiled endlessly at the applause of everyone around, feeling like they were about to burst. James was very satisfied with my performance today. After the party, he also declared that he would support me with all his might so that I could take the college entrance exam early. Meanwhile, Jessica kept a sad expression the whole time, leaning on Fiora's shoulder and acting spoiled. Fiora gently comforted his good daughter. After James left, Nicholas scolded me. "Today is Jessica's birthday. Why did you mention your background in front of so many people? You deliberately want to make Jessica lose her place, right? I'm in a good mood. I don't want to argue with him. Just an adopted child. Is it worth my concern? The person who really worries me is you, brother." Then I entered a period of rigorous review. My goal was Chris University. Most of the upper class in the Crisan circle of the capital came from Chris University. Passing the entrance exam to this school was the first step in my plan. James hired top teachers to tutor me. They were very strict, but I never neglected them. Besides eating and sleeping, I spent most of my time studying. At school, many people did not understand my actions. Even my close friends advised me a rich girl like you does not need to try so hard. Faced with such advice, I just smiled and did not answer. My foundation was already good after being taught by famous teachers. I improved faster. After the final exam ended, I got perfect scores in many subjects, winning first place in the whole city with excellent results. James held a celebration party for me. The tycoon from the south also attended, and I once again expressed my gratitude and complimented him. He was very happy, and the smile did not leave his face the whole time. Soon after, he signed a cooperation agreement with Valtro Group, making James extremely happy, giving me many gifts. My good academic performance, good family background, and reputation in the upper class gradually improved. The rumours caused by the forum post gradually disappeared. Price Group probably wanted to match me up, and Declan used his poor academic performance as an excuse to arrange him into my one-on-one tutoring program. Declan was used to being a prince, so he didn't listen to the teacher. His slow learning progress was still in the 11th grade program, which affected me. Since he joined, Jessica often came to bother him, sometimes bringing fruit, sometimes bringing sweets. Very annoying. Later, she even joined the makeup class, but her foundation was even weaker, causing the learning progress to slow down even more. At first, I tried to endure it because of the professionalism of the teachers, but the delay was too much for me to bear. I signed up for a study card at a top exam preparation facility for Chris University to choose the best teachers to teach me. I didn't tell anyone about the teacher change. The next day, Declan came to class to find me. Under everyone's eyes, I walked out of the class with him. Jessica hurriedly ran after me. "Why didn't you come to makeup class yesterday?" Declan questioned me in a harsh tone. Jessica continued, "Sis, did you meet a Ward again? I heard that a Ward is a thug who bullies his friends don't hang out with him anymore," I said coldly. "Jessica slandering others is a crime. You are more uneducated than I thought. The Valtro family would be more useful than raising a dog. At least the dog knows how to protect its owner, but you are always tarnishing the family's reputation. I don't want to waste words with them anymore." Declan wanted to stand up for Jessica, but I frowned and said coldly, "Shut up. I found a teacher at the centre. From now on, I won't attend makeup classes anymore. Studying with two idiots who only know how to slow down my studies, what a waste of time." After saying that, I turned around and left without any regret. Declan was a man of high self-esteem, and my words were too harsh, and afterwards his dislike for me became even more obvious. Jessica also felt relieved and stopped bothering me for a long time. During the final exams, I still maintained my top position in the city. During the winter break, I continued to study at the exam centre. Even at night, when I had extra time, I did not leave my books. Jessica wore a high-end red dress that her parents bought for her, a gorgeous dress. Taking advantage of her radiant appearance, Nicholas held the camera to help her and Fiora take pictures. While James stood by smiling happily and fiercely, they looked like a real family. It was snowing outside. I curled up on the sofa next to the large window. The room had a warm heater that made me sleepy. This year there was no scolding, nor was there any cold. It was great. I smiled and continued reading. After returning to school, I applied to transfer to the 12th grade specialised programme. A few months later, I took the college entrance exam with Price. I was assigned to the exam site at Nha Trang. The whole family came to support me in the exam. Before entering the exam room, I was interviewed by the media many times. A Ward volunteered at the school when he showed me the way he whispered, "See you at Chris University." I followed the direction he pointed, gently replying, "I don't like waiting for anyone. You go faster and catch up with me." My efforts finally paid off. I passed the entrance exam to Chris University with the third highest score in the natural science class in the whole city. The two people above me were only a few points higher and were both students of the old school. James was extremely happy, organised a grand celebration party for me, causing a stir throughout the city. Valtro Group took me as an example, launched a series of promotional programs for candidates, attracting many customers. With such excellent results, I was obviously admitted to Chris University and started university early. Chris University's Christian department is a place that gathers many talented people. Declan, as the heir of the Price family, became the student council president as soon as he entered school and had absolute power among the students. Compared to his arrogance, I resigned from the vice president position, but I was willing to spend money and effort to maintain relationships with my subordinates, actively participating in student council and club activities. All my studies got A's, which made everyone praise me endlessly. Finally, in the second year, when there was an election, I defeated both Nicholas and Declan, becoming the new student council president. Nicholas was in his fourth year and had shifted his focus to work, so although he was surprised by his elimination, he didn't pay much attention. The person who really couldn't accept it was Declan. This was the first time the crown prince of the Price family had to stand in for someone else. If he had lost to Nicholas, it would have been acceptable, but he lost to a woman like me. Seeing his unwillingness, I deliberately provoked him. "You are so useless, your child will not be able to carry your surname in the future." "Oh right, I heard that the student council president has great power. You must protect Jessica well." He still maintained the appearance of a protector of Hua, angrily saying, "If you dare to bully Jessica, I will not forgive you." I smiled sinisterly. "She is just an adopted child. I treat her well now because I respect you. Valtro Group is preparing a big project recently. When we get married, I will ask my father to find a rich businessman in the south to marry her off. Raising her for so many years, it is time for her to repay the favour. No way she is your younger sister. How can you be so cruel? Marrying her to a rich businessman living in luxury. What is so cruel about it? Do you hate me for being cruel? If you have the ability, then protect her and keep her as your personal assistant. I don't mind you having someone outside." At this point, I smirked wickedly. Declan was so angry that he cursed, saying that he would never marry a wicked woman like me. When the two families met, he caused a commotion, declaring that he would only marry Jessica. His family also supported this, helping her keep the engagement. When I got home, I smashed everything on the coffee table, furious. "I am your biological daughter. The one who is engaged to the Price family should be me. She is just an adopted child. What right do you have to compete with me? I know you have had feelings for her for more than 10 years, but why, even though I have tried so hard, are you still biased towards her? If I had known this, I would not have let her go. In the past, even when we argued, I always kept a cold face, but this time, my madness scared them. They wanted to scold me, but when they heard what I said, they swallowed their criticism. It turned out that my previous coldness was just a facade. It turned out that I had tried to study not because of my nature, but to gain their recognition. It turned out that I was not an unapproachable person. It was just that I had not been loved since I was young, so I did not know how to get close to them. Their faces were full of remorse, trying to comfort me, but my anger had reached its peak. Anyone who came near me was a little angry. "You guys always say that Jessica and I are the same in your hearts. But why, when I came back as soon as she cried a little, you guys left me to comfort her? She planned to make me be slandered at school. When Declan slapped me, my mother went to school, and the first thing she did was to worry about her. Even though she knew everything was caused by her, she still found a reason to justify that she lacked a sense of security. What about Valtro Group? Do you feel secure if I like raising other people's children so much? Why didn't I just get sterilized and give birth to them?" I turned to Nicholas. "Stop pretending to be nice. If it weren't for you saying that at school, would they dare to use insulting words to me? With your reputation in the industry, if you really considered me your sister, would Declan dare to attack me? That day you intentionally humiliated me in front of everyone, wasn't it? What right do you have to say such solemn words? I coldly looked at Jessica. Don't pretend anymore. The day I returned, you deliberately cried to embarrass me. The next day at school, you tried to lead the whole school to bully me. I just waved my hand and she fell like a level 20 storm. The Valtro family raised you healthy, but you tried to act like Lynn Dai-yu. God should have let you die young like her, not even making it past 17. I turned to James, your father, and I have known for a long time. Jessica did what happened to Susan in high school. She was also the one who called me to the school for the award. She wanted the Price family to change their engagement partner, so she put all the blame on me. And yet my father knew everything but still helped her cover it up. Speaking of this, my tears could no longer be held back, flowing down my face, full of pain, as if I had suffered a wound that was too great. Jessica, you have a good marriage with Declan. Nicholas was given shares and joined the group since his second year of university. What about Valtro Group? I have to do my best just to get you to look at me a little more. Why are you so biased? Even though I was crying, every word I said was very clear and purposeful. I usually don't ask for anything and rarely argue with Jessica, only to have to suppress all my grievances and turn them into their regret today. Fiora cried out after hearing that while James and his father had guilty faces, moved by my words, only Jessica was pale with fear. James, to compensate me, promised to let me work in the corporation and give me 5% of the shares that originally belonged to Jessica, plus the 5% he had promised, before giving me a total of 10% of the shares. Jessica, who had just been exposed, did not dare to have any opinion about Jessica and Declan's marriage. She firmly decided that even though she did not have any shares, the Valtro family would still prepare a large dowry so that the Price family could not blame James for giving me these things, because he thought that my wanting to join the corporation was just a statement in anger. He had wanted to take back the shares from Jessica for a long time. I just happened to create a reasonable excuse. Moreover, he thought that with my lack of affection, perhaps with just a few words of coaxing, he could take back the shares and leave them to Nicholas. After that argument, Fiora and Nicholas felt extremely regretful, treated me very thoughtfully, continuously sending gifts like an endless stream. When I first returned to the Valtro house when I was not yet used to the rich life, this might have touched me, but now I don't lack money, I can buy anything I want. Before I tried to endure to listen to them talk, but now that everything has been exposed, every time I see them, I just coldly turn my back and leave, not wanting to spare another glance. I heard that after knowing that I was making a fuss because of him, Declan came to me with a gentle expression. I didn't know you liked me. I thought you just wanted to take everything away from Jessica. It turns out that everything you did before was just to attract my attention. Jessica did those things Nicholas told me. You really aren't as evil as you said. All these years you have never taken the initiative to do that, Alice. We misunderstood you, just apologize. I promise to always protect Jessica. Your self-righteous words made me lose patience. You're so pitiful after all. Aren't you already moved by me? We've never gotten along. I'm really curious. Do you like my face, or are you attracted to my talent after losing to me so many times? Declan's face turned dark with anger. Don't be so self-righteous. If it weren't for Nicholas, I wouldn't have come here to comfort you. Wasn't he the one who was self-righteous in the first place? I coldly left a sentence, then pushed him away and walked away. I now have a position I don't have to put up with anyone anymore. Moreover, he even mentioned Nicholas. James only has Nicholas as a son, and he has been raised as an heir since he was young. As soon as he entered Chris University, he was given 20% of the company's shares, which is very generous. As for a daughter like me, I only have 5% of the shares, and he still keeps dragging it on. If it weren't for me guessing his thoughts correctly, seizing the opportunity, and putting pressure, I probably wouldn't have gotten anything. Like Jessica, I know that what I have now is James's limit, so no need to play the good daughter anymore. Now I can slowly reveal my sharp claws. At the same time, I joined the corporation Nicholas was assigned to the 5-star hotel chain of Valtro Group, one of the most important Creasun industries. I was assigned to a small game company that was about to go bankrupt. James wanted me to have trouble and then give up. Even if I didn't give up, this small company wouldn't last long. Actually, this game company had a glorious period. That year, Valtro Group saw huge profits from the internet industry, so they also wanted to divide the shares to establish a game company and poured a lot of money into recruitment. Promotion. But because of too much investment, the products were mainly copies of other successful games, hoping to be able to copy the success of others. As a result, when the company was launched, it was heavily criticized and was sued by other companies. In the eyes of others, this company had no future. But for me, this was a heaven-sent opportunity. In the internet age, the game industry was a big trend. I had money connections and the determination to compete. What I lacked at the moment was talent. After attending many investment conferences, I found a group of young students with great potential. Coincidentally, they were also Chris University students. The leader of this group was a computer science student named Ezra Knight. I had contacted them a few times before and left my contact information. Not long after, with my sincerity and financial capacity, I convinced them to join the company. Their group wanted to express the world of Norse mythology through their game. Most of them were recent graduates from neighboring universities with eyes full of aspirations for the future. Their enthusiasm also awakened the old employees who just wanted to live day by day in the company. For their dreams, most of these young people volunteered to work overtime. Some even paid for folding beds to work all night at the company. I never pretended to be a boss. I let them make their own decisions, helping them not to worry about anything on the path of pursuing their dreams. Everyone was united like a rope moving forward together. After the company got on track, the first thing I did was to change the company name to Alice Entertainment. This name attracted more young teams to apply for jobs. The game industry is an emerging industry in need of young creative talents. The project about the Norse mythology world costs a lot of money and time, so it cannot bring immediate results. Therefore, I focused on supporting other teams with creative small games while using my reputation for marketing. The revenue was very good. That year, I was famous for taking the college entrance exam early. Many netizens still remember me for my beautiful appearance, family background, and academic achievements. When I reappeared in public, I became the general manager of the company in a suit. Confidently and delicately answered the media's questions about the games the company developed. With my growing reputation, I once again appeared on the hot search. She is the young lady Alice Valtro, who took the college entrance exam early and was the third person to enter Chris University. So beautiful and confident, truly a young lady Alice with an academic temperament. Truly the style of a strong female lead who has been a CEO since college. On social media platforms, people were talking about me very enthusiastically. Many people were curious about what game I would create. And thanks to the participation of netizens, who like Anza, the number of downloads of the new game increased significantly quickly, climbing to the top of the daily rankings. The quality of the game retained a number of users, and gradually Alice Entertainment and I scored an impressive comeback. At industry meetings, people began to call me the young Valtro General, but there was another person called the Jessica. Jessica and Declan's engagement went very smoothly. Not long after, the Valtro and Price families held an engagement ceremony. I did not attend, and that made Nicholas call me angrily. "Do you know how many rumours have spread because of your rash actions? I was busy." After he finished speaking, I calmly replied, "Now I know. Thank you for the good news." Then I hung up. I bought a few more houses using the excuse of being busy with work and school to live outside, rarely coming home. The next time I saw Nicholas was at a business party. He asked why I hadn't replied to his messages and said that my mother's health had not been good recently, telling me to go home to visit her. I wasn't a doctor. What use would it be to come to me if she was sick? I took a sip of wine, the red liquid swirling in the glass. "How long are you going to be angry?" He frowned, dissatisfied with my incomprehensible attitude. Every time I was sick since I was little, I had to go to the hospital myself, and no one came to visit me. My mother was so old. Was she still a big kid? My coldness made him angry. "She is your mother," he almost shouted. "I knew it. She gave birth to me. I will fulfill my duty to support her. I've been earning money for her recently. She doesn't lack money, she just wants to see you. What's wrong with money? You guys just give me money. You reap what you sow. Don't be too greedy. Don't be too greedy. Is it because you always stay away from the family?" Jessica knew that her mother was sick and even cancelled the competition to stay home and take care of her. If I had a little bit of her attention, our family wouldn't be in this situation. It sounds like a complaint. The last time I came home, Jessica framed me the next day, and you guys only believed her words. If I didn't have evidence, I don't know how she would have bullied me. How could you blame me for staying away from you guys? He couldn't respond to me. He just lowered his voice and tried to use his feelings to make me feel better. Mum was angered by her father this time. I coldly interrupted. Mum was only angered by her father. It was no longer rare for James to have a mistress outside. Fiora knew very well, but still pretended not to see. This time it was just a coincidence with my situation, so she got angry and complained a few sentences. James saw that she talked too much, so he didn't pay attention. Nicholas, her biological son, not only didn't defend her, but also advised, "Don't make trouble anymore." In the end, she was so angry that she was hospitalized. Nicola was born as the noble prince of the Valtro family, enjoying all the benefits that money brings. Now that he has power in the group, he feels its greatness even more clearly. As long as James doesn't give birth to another younger brother, he will always understand and stand by James. His mother was so angry that she was hospitalized he didn't take care of her or apologize, and even let his sister quit the competition to stay home and take care of her. A person who can't even reach the minimum moral standard stands at the pinnacle of morality and points fingers at others. Every time I hear him speak, I feel ashamed for him. Nicholas looks at me with a puzzled expression. "Alice, are you crazy? You bite everyone you meet." Jessica takes care of her mother because she is filial. "Do you think everyone is like you?" I glanced at him with disgust. I felt funny, an illness that doesn't require hospitalization. There are several maids in the house. Why does she need to quit the competition to take care of her mother maid? Work is worth it. Believe in your daughter. Jessica can comfort and confide in her mother at home. He said it as if it were obvious. Actually, it wasn't that she voluntarily gave up the competition, but he thought she should stay and take care of her mother, but didn't say it. When she understood what he meant, she voluntarily made that suggestion. Right. He and James often said that Jessica was too spoiled, but in fact her willfulness was within the limits of your tolerance, doing everything according to your wishes. I couldn't hide my disgust for him. "Nicholas, don't flirt in front of me anymore. You're making me lose my appetite." Nicholas's pride was very big this time. I embarrassed him. He didn't send gifts to his house anymore. We met again on the occasion of the New Year, when the whole Valtro had a gathering tradition. The two small games released by Alice Entertainment retained users, bringing in significant profits. My happy mood was evident on my face. On the way home, Fiora chatted with me kindly. The Valtro brothers kept staring at me as if they wanted to pierce through a barrel. James pretended not to know anything, smiling and telling the maid to take a photo to record the warm family moment. When I returned to my room, Jessica followed and locked the door with an unknown confidence. She turned around and angrily questioned, "Where were you that Christmas Eve? Where I was has nothing to do with you." My answer made her so angry that her face turned fierce. Declan and I had already set a date for our wedding. We just needed to register our marriage on the wedding day. No matter what you do, you won't have a chance anymore. She finished speaking as if she remembered something. The corner of her mouth curled into a triumphant smile. They only pitied her for a moment. This had happened before, but whenever we had conflicts, they always sided with me. I waited quietly for her to finish speaking, looking at the silly smile on her face, and couldn't help but laugh. If, according to what she said, her parents loved her so much, why didn't she get any share of the Valtro family's assets? Her eyes glared at me with hatred. Wasn't it because of her? The two of us fought to the death over the 5% of the shares. Nicholas had 20% of the shares as soon as he entered university. It was obvious that his parents favoured him the most. Why didn't she fight with him? She was blocked by me but couldn't refute, because she knew she couldn't fight with him. In this family, he was born higher than her. She could only please him so that he would lower himself and treat her well. She was talking nonsense. Jessica refused to admit it. My parents loved me the most. My mother always went to extra classes with me. She never did that to my sister and Nicholas. Whatever I wanted, my parents would give it to me. That's because Nicholas was raised to be an heir and her value was to be raised to marry off. The things she wanted never touched Nicholas's interests. The Valtro family was rich. Spending money to please her was not complicated. If she had the ability, she would try to cancel the engagement, ask her parents to divide the shares and the position of heir in the corporation to see if they would still spoil her. Jessica was choked by my words, but quickly regained her composure. "Are you dreaming I would never cancel the engagement? I have my own dreams. I'm not interested in the Valtro family's industry." I smiled faintly. The dream of becoming a dancer that she spoke of. If that dream was so important, why did she give up the opportunity to go abroad to stay in the country? If I'm not mistaken, it was her parents who made her stay. They said they didn't want her to go too far, afraid that they wouldn't be able to take care of her. But they were afraid that if she went abroad, Declan would have a change of heart. Last time Mum got angry with Dad, but let her cancel the competition to take care of Mum. She must have been preparing for that competition for a long time. "Shut up!" Jessica didn't want to hear any more. "Don't try to separate us. Is it a separation?" She knew. If you want to dream, then close the door and dream. Don't come and show off in front of me. I don't like to act with others. Go out. Jessica didn't move, sneered and mocked me. "Well said. But aren't you jealous that I have a lover? Didn't you seduce Declan just to make me uncomfortable? But I'm telling you, in Declan's heart, there's only me. My parents are also forever biased towards me. Everything she does is in vain. She always thinks that she's important in my heart." Seeing that I didn't say anything, she got angry and asked, "Do you dare say that you weren't with Declan that Christmas night?" I still kept my cool. "I went to work that night. I'm not interested in men who are inferior to me." My words didn't seem to be false, making Jessica begin to realize that something was wrong. She always thought that I was the only one who wanted to win Declan, but someone like Declan who was born into wealth, how could there be a lack of temptation around him? Men in the upper class always have beauties by their side, and it is impossible to be loyal to one person. James and Fiora were also very happy when they were young, but the best thing James did was not to have children out of wedlock. Many people with the same power and money as him changed wives several times and even had children of their own. Jessica was spoiled since she was young, so she could not bear the betrayal of others, so she hired a private detective to investigate. At a party, she caught Declan red-handed. It was said that Declan's group lost the game at that time. A girl forced him to drink wine. She had to pour the entire glass of wine into his mouth to be considered the winner. On the second sip, Jessica pulled the girl's hair and dragged her off Declan's lap. Jessica caused a commotion. Declan had to explain in vain and then chased after her. Their childhood love could still endure these disturbances. After that, Jessica saw Declan many times, causing his friends to complain endlessly. Declan felt humiliated and spoke harshly to Jessica. She went home crying and demanded to cancel the engagement. James initially said that he would let the Price family teach Declan a lesson. Declan then advised Jessica for a long time, but the more support she got, the angrier she became. And when Declan called, she dared to directly mention the cancellation of the engagement. James's gentle face darkened after hearing the word cancellation from Jessica's mouth, and he slapped her. The slap stunned Jessica. She looked at James blankly, not understanding why things had turned out like this. Fura cried and hugged Jessica. "Why hit me? Is there something you can't say properly?" Meanwhile, Nicholas took James's phone and spoke softly to Declan on the other end of the line. As for me, I leaned back on the sofa and enjoyed this family drama. James later had to apologize to Jessica. Nicholas also gave advice, while Jessica leaned against Fiora and cried. Fiora probably remembered her own situation, feeling helpless about her daughter's future, and could only silently shed tears. The Valtro father and daughter were very good at controlling Jessica every time they coaxed her to the point of nodding repeatedly and then apologized to them. I had seen enough of that scene. A ward came to pick me up by car. He hadn't graduated yet, hadn't started working at the company, and had only helped me handle some personal matters outside. General Valtro seemed very happy today. He smiled and asked me, I smiled gently, watching the hypocrite unmask. "That's interesting. You did a good job." Game development is a process of burning money. Although the company's first 2 small games had income, I used it to make up for the Godly project. The company was still able to operate because I was financially responsible for it alone. Mark and his team knew my difficult situation and took the initiative to propose other ideas to reduce the burden. But I rejected them all. The gods above are everyone's dream. I can't contribute. I can only contribute more money. Let me take care of the rest. You guys can rest assured and move forward. My words deeply moved them. They put all their efforts into speeding up the progress. Finally, after a year and a half, the game began public testing. As expected, it received a lot of praise. I poured a lot of money into promotion and even personally attended the game's press conference. After introducing the game, I told the story of the difficulties we had gone through behind the scenes of the project. The development team was mostly students who had just graduated from Chris University, all of whom were passionate about games. What united them was the common dream of bringing the mythical world of Northern Europe to the world. In this story, I played the role of a rich junior who was moved by their dream and decided to support them. Mark had a very good image, and some of his core team members were also very attractive after being restyled. The boys wore black suits and the girls wore suits. No matter where the camera panned, viewers could see young and energetic faces. The story of this development team was even hotter than the game. Netizens even speculated that Mark and I had a special relationship, otherwise I wouldn't have spent so much money to support him. Many people even paired me with Mark. Screenshots from my work groups were leaked. The encouraging words and red envelopes I sent during the holidays were released by marketing accounts. Alice Entertainment is known by the online community as the company that everyone wants to work for the most. Most entrepreneurs don't like to build a reputation on social media. They can't stand negative comments about themselves. But I'm different. For me, success is the most important. I don't care about my image online. As expected after these campaigns, I attracted a lot of players. On the day the game was launched, the server was even overloaded because of the large number of visitors. The gods did not disappoint my expectations, and the revenue increased day by day. Our new game has made investors have a lot of confidence. The Valtros finally realized something was wrong. In James's eyes, I had always been the unloved son dependent on my father. Everything I did was just to attract their attention. They had never paid attention to me, and Alice Entertainment was losing money. But the daily revenue of the gods above had shocked them. They did not expect that the woman they had always looked down on could achieve such success. The Valtro father and son held a party to congratulate me. As soon as they sat down, they immediately asked and cared for me like they treated Jessica. Jessica's eyes, when looking at me, were filled with hatred, but hidden inside. They thought that they had coaxed me and finally dared to make a real request, wanting me to hand Alice Entertainment over to Nicholas to manage. I flatly refused. Not only did I refuse, I also told them about my difficulties and finally asked for money from them. Nicholas continued to show pity, saying that I had worked too hard and advised me not to worry about this anymore, because they were supporting me anyway. I snorted coldly. Don't look down on the efforts I've put in over the years. If I don't care, should I? The family hotel that he managed for several years did not see him achieve anything. This sentence made Nicholas angry. The family party ended in an unhappy atmosphere. Although he did not say it, it was clear that James's face showed his displeasure. They had realized my ambition. There was only one step left between me and them to completely tear the curtain apart. The gods above were very admirable when the computer and mobile game versions quickly had revenue that far exceeded my expectations. Alice Entertainment had built a large fan base, helping me save a lot of marketing costs. I graduated from Chris University, focusing all my attention on my career. Alice Entertainment's projects grew more and more gradually, becoming the mainstay of Valtro Group, helping Valtro Group affirm its position in the game market. Alice Entertainment's profits gradually surpassed other companies, becoming the largest source of revenue for Valtro Group. In the board meeting, I sat to the right of James. Nicholas and I had completely severed our relationship, and every time we met, we couldn't tolerate each other much. The company was also divided into two factions. Fiora didn't want to see family conflict, so she tried to advise me several times, but I always responded harshly. Seeing my determination, she finally stopped advising me and transferred 10% of her shares to me. Seeing the unpleasant expression on my face, she was a little embarrassed and gently explained, "Jessica and Declan have deep feelings. I am very assured about it. As for you, you have never asked for anything from me. This is all I can do for you. Although she is biased, she is indeed the person who holds me in the most important place in this house, unlike my father, who is full of calculations. If I lose my value, I will be thrown away. Although my mother has been unfair to me, she has never shown any intention of abandoning me. Alice, do you hate me? No, I have money and time. It is my business to support as many people as I want. In fact, Jessica has not caused me any harm. On the contrary, she has helped me a lot without knowing it." Fiora did not expect me to be so rational. It took a while for her to react. "Go when you have time, visit me." I smiled. My voice was rarely gentle. "Yes, mother." Fiora nodded, tears falling, holding my hand tightly for a long time before letting go out. 20% of shares plus a position in Alice Entertainment. I was successfully elected as the new CEO of Valtro Group on the board of directors. Under my leadership, Valtro Group has successfully transformed into a major player in the technology industry, gradually leaving behind Percy Group. On the FOC rankings, I have far surpassed Nicholas and Declan. I heard that little Vantro and little Price had a big argument today. Award's voice was full of glee. What's going on? At the dinner party, someone said that the two princes together are not as good as you. Then it's not wrong. Under the flickering candlelight, we were exhausted. The future was waiting ahead.